Greetings metalheads, George here from No Nonsense Metal Reviews, back again, and this time with something I haven't actually done here on the channel in quite some time, recommending a particularly solid live album, which is in fact an absolute killer. So yes, we have a live killers installment for you, and this one really is a freaking killer live album. This is Live and Electric from, well, NWOBHM legends. They are an absolute institution, the mighty Diamond Head. I would say criminally underrated in terms of the broader metal world, but of course within the new wave of British heavy metal, Diamond Head are absolutely pivotal. You know, they're one of the true forerunners of the movement there. And this particular live killer, Live and Electric, showcases some of the band's best material, both new and old, from a UK tour from 2022. In fact, I did see them on this tour. They were supporting Saxon, coincidentally, who Brian Tatler has gone on to join. Brian Tatler being the kind of main man, the consistent member, guitarist, and just all-round good guy. There he is in our lineup shot there. So, Live and Electric. This album came out in 2025, so fairly recently, as I say, from a UK tour in 2022. Diamond Head have essentially been on hold for a few years. Their last studio album, full-length album, was 2019, and that was the absolutely awesome The Coffin Train. But they've been on hold due to Brian stepping in as guitarist for Saxon following the departure of Paul Quinn. So there's been a little bit of a shuffle around. Diamond Head, over the years, they have had periods where there's been inactivity, or they've been on hold, there's been a hiatus, and they're once again they are on hold. But they have released this kind of retrospective live album, and I'm always a little bit skeptical about these retrospective live albums that aren't really released necessarily in sequence, because I just feel like it's almost something to put out for the sake of putting out. Whereas if you have a band that does a tour, they record the shows, do all the mixing, producing, mastering, all that stuff, and then maybe a few months, year later, they then release that album as a live album. It's kind of in sequence. To me, that kind of sits a little bit better. But that said, this is an absolute killer. This is a really, really, really good live album. I do appreciate live albums aren't for everyone. Even for metalheads, fans of heavy music, not everyone does get on with live albums. Totally get that. I personally am a live album fan. I just feel that live albums can sometimes have the best versions of some of your favorite songs by your favorite bands. Live music has that energy. I love going to shows. I also love listening to live material. So getting back to Live and Electric, if we can get over the fact that this was recorded 2022, released in 2025, if we can also get over the fact that it's not just one show, it is recorded over multiple dates on the UK tour. So we've got, for example, we've got Cardiff, we've got Cambridge, which is in fact where I saw them at the Cambridge Corn Exchange. We've got York, we've got Aberdeen, we've got quite a few tracks from Aberdeen actually, and then we've got Blackburn as well. If you can get over that, what you've actually got here is, first, an incredibly heavy metal live album. It's a brilliant live album. It's also a fantastic career-spanning set. There are quite a few albums that are omitted, and Diamond Head don't have that many live studio albums, I should say. They do have a few live albums, but they don't have a massive number of studio albums. That said, we get some great early live classics, live versions of classics, from the first two albums. We also then get some really, really solid live performances of tracks from their most recent 2 studio albums, which have both been absolutely brilliant. Shall also point out the chap in the centre there. That is the very talented Rasmus Bom Anderson, who is vocalist for Diamond Head these days and has been the resident vocalist for the last 2 studio albums. And Rasmus sounds great here, I must say. He does also produce the album alongside Jay Shredder, as you can see there. So we've got a good mix, new and old tracks. There's quite a chunk of Diamond Head's career which is missing from this album, but certainly if you're looking to get into Diamond Head, maybe you've never delved into them before, this is a really good place to start because it sounds brilliant, really well produced. It sounds fresh, but it's energetic. It sounds heavy as well, and you can hear everything. Everything is clear. That's what you want from a live album. You don't want just a load of buzz and everything's kind of just mushed in together. You want to be able to hear what's actually going on, pick out the instruments there. Great tracks, new and old, and some of the best tracks from Diamond Head's arsenal, I would say. This NWOBHM legend, Diamond Head, you know, they've got some truly classic material here, and they do it absolute justice here live across the UK. The album actually kicks off with The Prince, which, if I get my prop to hand, is from the all-important 1980 debut. The Prince is the second track on the album. In fact, this is Lightning to the Nations. This is one of the most important NWOBHM, New Wave British Heavy Metal albums of the entire movement. It's also just one of the best heavy metal albums of all time. It's a freaking masterpiece. From the album, we also get the brilliant It's Electric. We've also got Helpless in there as well. These are all absolute essential new wave of British heavy metal tracks. Absolute first-rate heavy metal. As you can see, that is quite a good number of tracks from an album that's only had 7 songs in total. You know, we've got 4 from this album. That's not bad. Decent coverage. And of course, the album, the live album here, closes with one of the best songs of all time. We're easily within my sort of top 20, shall we say. Am I Evil? It is a definitive track. It is one of the most heavy metal tracks of all time. It's just a freaking masterpiece. Absolutely love it. Such an iconic riff. Of course, Diamond Head, and in particular, tracks like Am I Evil really influenced the emerging thrash metal scene of a few years later, influencing bands like Megadeth and Anthrax and Metallica. They really did have a big impact on that, and certainly you can hear it absolutely crystal clear. Am I Evil? You can hear that almost embryonic thrash riff, and it's just so absolutely fantastic. Brian Tatler, very, very good player. So we get some absolute classics. We also get a track from the second album, Borrowed Time, which is a good album, but it's got a few issues. It was released in 1982, I believe, so a couple of years later. Really, they probably should have followed it up straight away, got an album out in 81. Bands were just churning out albums like there was no tomorrow at that time. But also, it's not quite as good as its predecessor. It does also include 2 tracks, Lightning to the Nations and Am I Evil, which are from the first album, just re-recorded. Little bit of an issue there. But the opening track, In the Heat of the Night, I don't want to say it's a ballad, but it's a bit more of a kind of mid-pace track. It's a bit of a slower number, but it's really good. It's really catchy. It's very uplifting. It's definite crowd pleaser. Rasmus sounds absolutely fantastic singing that one, and it's just a great track. The whole band just sounds like they're on fire. Love it. We also get Dead Reckoning, which I believe is a non-album track. I think it was actually from an EP or a single around this kind of time, early 80s, and it's a great track. Really good track, solid number. They do a great version of it here. Fast forward, we've got this absolute stunner, which the year escapes me. It was released 2016. So, well, 10 years ago now, in fact. But this is a very good album. I love this one. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we get a decent inclusion of tracks on the live album from this album. We've got Bones, the opening track, which is absolutely brilliant. We've got Set My Soul on Fire, which is fantastic as well. We've just got some really killer live versions there. Absolutely love it. And then the most recent album, already mentioned, this absolute masterpiece here. This is a really good album. I would absolutely implore any heavy metal fan to check this album out. This is freaking brilliant. But we get the, in no particular order, we get the opening track, Belly of the Beast, which is actually second to last on the live album. Such a great track. Absolutely love it. We've got the brilliant Death by Design in there as well. So we've got inclusion of 4 tracks from across the last couple of full-length albums. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely just fantastic. It's not an overly long album, as you can see, but it really is a great introduction. If you're not familiar with Diamond Head, this would be a really good, strong starting point. If you are already a Diamond Head fan, as I am, I must admit, I pre-ordered this live album when it was about $9.99 on Amazon, and actually didn't even listen to it for a good couple of months. Shame on me. I think I was just put off by those very reasons I mentioned at the beginning of this review. You know, out of sequence. They've been on hold for a couple of years. You know, wasn't necessarily really hyped for it. But as soon as I actually picked it up and gave it a spin, it was like, whoa, where have I been? Where have these guys been? This album is freaking absolutely killer. This is a live killer. If you're a Diamond Head fan, you'll love it. They sound so good here. This was a really good run of shows for them, clearly. Obviously, they've picked the cream of the crop. They've picked the best versions from their run, and with good reason. The product is very good indeed. And what I will also say is that it's really well produced. It sounds really good. This is just what we need. This is solid, new NWOBHM, new wave of British heavy metal. This is solid Diamond Head, sounding good. You know, I do hope that Diamond Head do come back, maybe do another album, maybe do another tour, because the world needs Diamond Head. Absolutely fantastic. If I was to pick some real highlights, I'd really struggle, to be honest, because yeah, it's all good. Obviously, Am I Evil? It's their biggest track, best known track, and it is an absolute killer. Belly of the Beast is amazing. Sweet and Innocent as well, another classic. I did actually totally overlook that. So that's 5 tracks from the debut. Sweet and Innocent is a great one. Yeah, pretty much. This album, the debut, forms the bulk of the set list, which is to be expected with Diamond Head. It's their biggest and best album. The Messenger, absolutely fantastic. I'm forgetting tracks left, right, and centre here. The Messenger, that is a highlight. That is from Coffin Train. Absolutely fantastic. Clearly not got my head screwed on right today. The Messenger, Belly of the Beast, just so good. Those 2 tracks alone, absolutely just justify how good this album is. But also Death by Design is brilliant, start to finish. But also we can't forget about those classics. The Prince, It's Electric. It's just amazing. Sound great. The band's on fine form. Really good set list there. So a true live killer, live and electric from the UK tour 2022. What are your thoughts and opinions on Diamond Head? What are your thoughts and opinions on Live and Electric? Check it out if you haven't done so already, and then let me know what you think. And what do you think of Diamond Head? This absolute heavy metal institution. Classics, the 1980 debut, masterpiece, Live and Electric. The follow-up, Borrowed Time, with that brilliant Rodney Matthews artwork there. And their more recent albums, the brilliant self-titled album, and which I always want to call Bones. I don't know why. It's because of the opening track there, clearly, but yeah. And then this one, keep praising this, but Coffin Train is just magnificent. So check them out if you haven't already. A true live killer. And some good live shots of the band here as well. Awesome. Hope you've enjoyed this humble review, my friends. Please do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. Support is greatly appreciated, as always. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things. Till next time, take care of yourselves, listen to Diamond Head, and stay frickin' heavy.